Hi, everyone. It is Trish and Joanna again from Spiral Up Living. And we just thought again we would get together and have a little tea and a little chat. And hey, I like that mug, Joanna.
It says, I am 99% sure I'm a unicorn.
Absolutely. And you are. I totally believe that as well. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about relationships today. And I have a question. Lots of people are being in very, very close quarters with their family and maybe some friends. And do you feel that you are growing closer to them or maybe moving farther away?
And Trish and I want to talk about this because we are living a very special situation where we are all in our houses and we are having to spend a lot more time than normal with our loved ones. And we want to discuss this because there is a lot of feelings that we could be feeling, and none of them means that we don't love our family or we don't love our loved ones. It's just that we are in an out of normal situation where we don't have sometimes a space at all to vent and decompress, or in cases like, for example, Trish, she doesn't have a lot of interaction. So no, it doesn't matter if you are all by yourself in your house and then you're having issues with your friends and family outside your house, or if you are all the time in your house with your spouse and your kids, like my case, and you're having issues. So we would just want to talk about a little bit about that and share our ideas about what you can do and what is the reason behind those changes.
Absolutely. And Joanna has shared a lot with me about what her family are doing. And as she said, I am here by myself. And I must admit that it's been, pretty lonely. There are people who come onto my farm that do help tend to the horses. So I can actually see people, but it's really not the same as to being able to have intimate conversations. And then what's been happening is I just get quiet, and with my loneliness, it just becomes, well, no one really wants to hear from me. So I do my usual Trish thing, which is not reach out and ask for help, not say, help, I'm drowning here. So my advice is, please be strong. There's so many people out there that are really willing to lend a hand, lend an ear, and to help in this situation for everyone.
And that is such a great point. And it's not only for the people that are by themselves in their houses, but for all of us, because we all are in this busyness. And then I'm finding myself also wanting to reach out to my friends, but then double guessing and say, well, I don't want to interrupt. I don't know how busy they are. They also have their family or they are working. So that is a great point. And I agree with Trish. Like, the best thing that you can do in the next couple of weeks is just stop it. Like, if you want to reach out to somebody, if you need to talk with somebody, just pick the freaking phone and call. Like, you're not going to be calling a kid, hopefully. You're going to be calling an adult, and an adult will be perfectly capable to tell you, hey, you know what? I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back? And then if he or she doesn't tell you that, it's because they either have the time or are willing to make the time for you. So just get a little emotional with that, because I've been finding myself doing that. I'm not like, what I'm doing? Like, just call and see if they can answer.
And sometimes it can be, even if you don't feel like reaching out and picking up the phone at that moment. My girlfriend has been sending some funny little meme or something just by text, and I'm sure she's doing it to a lot of her friends. And, it just puts a little smile on my face and helps to start the day. So just whatever you can, just reach out. But we wanted to zero in a little bit on your relationship, maybe with your partner, and the differences, particularly between men and women, but certainly this goes with all relationships that you are involved in. And there's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of podcasts and videos on parenting and on relationships. And really it comes down to being able to respect each other and your differences, and trying to keep the communication open, and also being empathetic or sympathetic to what the other person is also going through, because it could be completely different to what you're feeling.
And I think that is why we're going to be spending a lot of time, and is helping us and you guys as our community of Aspire Up to remember those differences. And we're going to start with the difference with a symbol that Trish and I both love on the meaning, and Trish is going to help us to go through it, and is seeing the female and the male, or the woman and the man, as the two parts of a yin yang.
Absolutely. So I have my oracle book here, and the yang essential meaning is the masculine principle of movement and creative activity, the power to make things happen, and taking action. And then the yin is the feminine receptivity, principle of receptivity, letting someone else make the first move, gathering information and taking in cues, and the art of conscious allowing.
So I will just ask all of you, and I would love if you put a little message on the YouTube video. Can you see how, if you are a female and you are living with a male, with that description that Trish just told you, you can have some issues? Like, you can have some complementation. Like, for example, when it says the male take action and the female waits for somebody to take action, that how many times, for example, my husband told me, what do you want for dinner? Or my brother that is cooking now, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. I don't want to pick. But then they don't want to pick either, and they want somebody else to pick. So it is very interesting how those dynamics kind of start, like you were saying, making people to grow apart in their relationships.
Absolutely. I remember when I was married, and my husband would come in, and he would be super frustrated with something that the staff had done. And he just had to like blow up and tell me all about this. And I would just look at the big picture, and I guess I was trying to reason with him and just look at both perspectives and try and make some kind of logic thing happen. And then he would get mad and just say, well, you're taking their side. And I'd be like, that just didn't make sense to me, because I saw it as I'm just looking at everything and trying to feel how everyone is reacting to this. And, you know, I didn't really put it down to both of us and how we were reacting to the situation. I just was, in my true fashion, trying to just smooth everything over for everyone. Didn't work so well.
Yeah, I agree. And I can relate with that. Sometimes when I am frustrated or I am overwhelmed and I just share with Justin, I can see in his face how he start building up frustration, because and then he start building, and then eventually he told me, what do you want me to do? How you want me to help? I'm like, you are helping. I'm just telling you. But part of the feminine and the masculine, one thing is males are by genetic designed to fix and solve problems. They are the providers. So if you go back into one thing that Trish and I both know from a common mentor is our DNA and our mind evolve on different paces. So even when our mind and the environment around us evolve very, very fast, the DNA, the real DNA that we have in our body, in our reptile brain, is still very similar to the one that our ancestors millions of years ago had when they lived in the caves. And then if you're thinking like that, a male was a provider. He was in charge of hunting and keeping their family alive. And if he was not able to do that, he will fail. So I can see that in Justin when he starts just getting upset and irritated because I'm just telling him so many things. And I'm like, and they have this problem, and I have this problem, and I have this problem, and this was horrible today. And I don't even want to tell you about my mom, and this happened, and this happened. And then there's a point that he just cannot handle anymore and say, just let me fix one. Don't keep telling me problems. I'm just still trying to think how I can help you with the first one that you told me, because that is how they work. They work on fixing. And then, like Trish was saying, in the other hand, we as females don't work on the way that we solve things is gathering information, seeing the big picture, looking for different opinions, looking for different perspectives. We just can spend hours with a girlfriend just going back and forth with things without expecting even to have a solution about them. We are just chatting. So it's interesting how that balances go.
Yes, and I'm sure that our listeners have heard of John Gray. He's definitely one of the best known authors for his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are from Venus. And he goes into the differences a lot. And I just found this quote that I thought was super interesting. He says, when men and women are able to respect and accept their differences, then love has a chance to blossom.
That is very profound, and that goes into part of what Trish and I want to talk with you. And one for you females that are listening right now is take the time to think what you are expecting from your man. And see if you are actually expecting that your man plays every single role in your life. The role of a lover, the role of a father, the role of a husband, of a best friend, of a clown, of all that. And sometimes we are very unfair because it's not possible for them to just satisfy every single emotional need that we have. And this is where I start getting upset and blaming Disney, because since we were 3-4 years old, what we saw in the movies was that perfect charm prince that was just everything that princess needed and wanted. And then we grow up with that wrong idea that is a reality, and it's not. So one of the things that I will tell females, if you're having issues with your husband, is start putting a list of all the things that you are expecting from him that he may not be satisfying, and then start thinking if you were satisfying those things before with other people. And if the answer to that is yes, then start reaching to that people back, even if it's through phone or Facebook. I was actually in a coaching call 2-3 weeks ago with a lady that wanted to create a husband, manifest a husband. And then the coach was asking her what were the qualities that she wants. And then she started just mentioning them, blah, 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 blah. And that share with me this, and that enjoy talking, and that enjoy this, and do this with me. And at the end of the entire list, he just started laughing and say, do you understand that you are not looking for a man, you're looking for a girlfriend? And that is one of the things that we need to consider is how fair we are being with the other one on our expectations. And for the men, it's the same. It's the same as what are your expectations on the things that you're expecting your wife or your spouse to supply during this time of lockdown.
Absolutely. And I remember back to the husband and the divorce, I remember my divorce lawyer actually saying what Joanna was just talking about. It's like we expect the one person to be able to do anything. Now, her advice was a little odd. She just thought that men should maybe be in a library. So when you needed a good dancer, you'd go to the library and like check out that good dancer guy and then put him back. And if you needed great sex, you'd go and take out the great lover and then you put him back. I don't know, that's a little extreme and that, but it did actually make me think about Joanna's point that we, as well as our husbands, cannot be all things to each other. It's just not possible. It's not the makeup.
Yeah. And there I want to make 2 points that I really believe. The first one is what I will invite you to do now that you're having all this time is create that list and just be playful with your husband or your wife about it. And then say, hey, it would be nice if you can ask your partner to put a different hat whenever you need it, and say, hey, I know that this is not really you, but I need you to really wear the girlfriend hat right now because I'm not being with my girlfriends for a long time and I just need to do girlfriend talk. And I think that if you talk about that with your spouse, with your husband ahead of time, they are going to be super happy to at least try. And then you can even just end having a big laugh or the sexy sexual hat. So that's the first one on exploring. And then the other one is to be careful on, and this is my perspective, on the balance between, we cannot expect our husbands and our partners to satisfy every emotional need that we have. At the same time, I believe that for our relationship to be beautiful and magical, our spouse and our partner needs to be our priority number one, no matter what. And I know that I'm going to have a lot of controversial here because I know that there is, especially females, a lot of females that believe that their children need to be their first priority. And I disagree. I think that that relationship, this is one of the things that I learned from John and Missy Butcher, is that relationship with your partner needs to be the priority and the most important thing in your life. And I think that if you have that clear, then your actions and the way that you interact with that person and with the rest of your family is going to be more aligned to prove that.
That's a wonderful point, Joanna. I think none of us really want to feel like we're second rate. And when we are in a relationship with someone that we truly love, they should be number one. So, and bringing us to love, there is a book that is called The 5 Love Languages. And I actually just purchased the 5 Love Languages Singles Edition, which has some additional information in here. And it was very interesting reading through there and figuring out really what I actually need. And one of the hardest things for me at this time is I crave physical touch. And so not just with my partner, but even just being able to hug Joanna. She gives the most amazing Colombian hugs. And my friends that come to the door and they drop something off for me or some food, and we just stand there like, 6 feet apart, 12 or whatever it's supposed to be, and we just look at each other, and it's like killing me because I just crave that. So I want to make sure that in my new relationship that my partner really understands that that's super important to me.
And you're going to do the course. I did the course last year with Justin, but one of the best exercises that I did in a course that I take with Bruce Musick, Love at the First Fight, is that exercise of both females and males make this mistake, but we assume that the other person should know. If he loves me, he should know this is what I need. If she loves me, she should know that I need my space. If he loves me, he should know that I need a hug. And that is one of the biggest mistakes, especially now, because now we have all this stress, we are all the time together. So the only people that should know what you are thinking is freaking God and the angels. No, nobody with blood and bones had the capacity to know what you want and what you need. So what you were saying on your new relationship with your new husband is absolutely aligned with what we're going to talk about, the 5 languages, and is don't be afraid to sit down and speak up with your spouse and say, hey, this is how I am feeling. Don't expect that he or she know. We are being married for 25 years. She should know me by now. No, just sit down with a nice glass of wine and say, hey, honey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I need from you. This is the help that I'm requiring. And then have that open conversation. Like, it's not their fault if they don't know how to love us. If your partner is not being able to love you right now, I will say it's your fault, because you are not being clear enough to tell them what do you need. So
yes, and definitely working through not only what you need, but also the hurts that just happen on a daily basis. You could feel like you have to sleep in that day, and your partner might be irritated because you're not getting up. Or maybe they say something and you kind of shoot at them and say some comment back. And it's just really, I think we tend to hurt the people we love the most, because deep down, maybe not consciously, but deep down, we know they'll forgive us because they love us. But it's not going to last forever if you can't have the conversations like Joanna was just talking about.
Other one that I just remember that was very clear is have very clear what men want and what women want, because it's very different. Like, what men want is feel respected, feel respect. That is why they hunt, that is why they fix problems, that is why they go and solve issues, because they want our respect. So as a woman, if you are a wife, if you are a girlfriend, are you showing your man that you respect him? Are you telling him that you respect him? Again, we go back to, he should know that I respect him. No, he should not know. You should make sure that he hears, sees, and feels that you respect him. And then for men, what we want as women is feel love and appreciation. So are you making sure that your woman is feeling loved and appreciated? And then it's not, now we're going to go to the love languages. It's not assuming that the way that you show love is the way that the other person perceives love. And what we're going to talk with you and invite you to do is, if you're having any kind of relationship gaps right now, go into the 5 languages. There is actually a free quiz that you can take, and you are going to find what your love language is. Like Trish was saying, she's touch. Actually, I have 2 that are very high on mine, and they are touch and words of appreciation. And the 5 love languages are touch. So people feel love when you touch them, when you hug them, when you put a hand on them, when you kiss them. So when you are having that. The other one is words of appreciation. So when you celebrate verbally, I love you, thank you, you did such a great job, you are amazing. A third love language is gifts. So there is people that feel love when they receive. And when I say gift, I'm not talking about all this superficial plastic person that only care about material things. When I'm talking about gifts, I'm talking about even bringing a little flower from the garden. It's just the matter of giving a gift to show that I was thinking about you and this is what I bring. The 4th one is quality time. There is people that really need to feel that they are having that full attention, one-on-one quality time. And then the 5th one is acts of service. Is I show you my love helping you fix your barn. I show my love to you cooking breakfast for you every morning. So those are the 5 love languages. And like, for example, Trish and I, we get very good because we both had the touch as a common love language. And when we are together, we let the other one feel that we love the other one very easy, because the way that we express our love is the way that the other one receives. So when I'm with her, I hug her and kiss her and touch her head all the time, and that is how she receives love. But for example, with my husband, that is not the way that he receives love. The way that he have love is acts of service and gifts. So if the only thing that I do with him is touching him, he's not going to feel that I love him. I need to learn to speak his language.
Absolutely. And I remember I was a teenager, and I had a boyfriend who wanted to give me gifts all the time, and like some small gifts and some big gifts. And I just remember getting super uncomfortable about it, especially when some of the stuff that he gifted me with, I thought probably cost a lot of money. And it, after a while, it just kind of turned me off, you know. What I have learned, as what Joanna mentioned, is the gifts can actually be, maybe they're going out of town and maybe you just slip something in to their suitcase, or just little surprises along the way that makes your spouse just stop and know that they're loved and appreciated just from the time that you took to just write a little note. Or I have a friend who she actually puts like little notes in various drawers around the house, or in the console in his car and stuff like that. And it's very, very cool.
And I think that we go back into the communication. Like, this is the time that we need to be communicating the most. After you have clear what is your love language, make sure that your partner have their love language too, and talk about it. And make sure that you both understand how the other one feel loved. And after that, don't assume that one time is enough and then your partner will remember forever. This is something that you need to start training each other and remind the other person about, hey, this is how I feel loved. This is how I feel that you love me, until the other person, it's a muscle that especially with love language, because my love language is touch. So when I love somebody, the automatic way that I want to show love is on my love language, that is touch. So it is really a new muscle to be able to develop and say, hey, I want to show love through touch, but I stop and realize this person love language is acts of service. So I will be showing more love if I actually go and wash the dishes instead of give him a hug.
That's very good. And you happened to just hit on what I was going to say, which is it's developing a muscle. It's not something that's naturally maybe going to happen to you to either converse with your spouse or to really understand where they're coming from. So develop that muscle. It's going to change your life. We guarantee it.
Yeah. One other tip for you, if you're having any issues with the Mars Venus energy, is allow yourself and your partner to have a secret word. And how that word is, you guys get agreement and saying, hey, when we say green bananas, that means, if I tell you green bananas, that means that I'm getting frustrated to the point that if we push a little bit more, I'm going to lose my shit. And in that way, because especially with all the time that we are spending together, sometimes you start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you push a little above the limit, and then one of the two explodes. And then after one of the two explodes, everything goes just down the drain. So the other tip is having that emergency or secret word between the two of you that you can just say it, and then the other one will know, okay, I need to back off and give him or her some space, and we can continue this later.
I really like that. I've never thought of having a secret word. And in my case, I probably wouldn't explode. What would happen to me is I would become super, super quiet. I would just slow down, probably want to be by myself. And if I had some secret word that I could just say, then that could maybe help me stay engaged and at least again reach out for help when that's not what I like to do. I love that. Thank you. I'm not sure it's going to be green banana, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I think of it.
Yeah, no, and it's true, because in your example, that is something that Justin is like you, and I'm much more pusher. So when we are arguing, he start retracting and being quiet and not talking. And that is like if you put freaking fuel on me. Like if we are talking and he's not talking, he just get me crazy bananas. So then I push more and more because I want him to talk. I want him to help me to solve this issue. And then we go into that spiral of until one of the two of us says or do something that we regret every time. So that secret one is, no, it doesn't matter if you are like Trish or you're like me. If you say the word, what that means is time off. We need to have some cool down time. We need to, like in boxing, go to your corners. Go to your corners, cool down, do whatever you need to do. For Trish and my husband is just having their private time, their quiet time. My husband just go to the room and close everything and just listen to music, and it's his time. And then for me, it's just time to breathe and calm down and let my Colombian energy calm down, and then you can come back together.
Yes, and I, from growing up in my family, I would immediately think that I'm not loved anymore. So being able to take that time and know that you're going to come back together and have some conversations, and maybe it's hurt you, but maybe it's hurt you just because it's triggered something from the past, and it's scary to talk about stuff for sure, but it's going to really, really benefit your relationship with your partner by stopping, taking the time, and then just coming back together and having those really honest conversations where you're honoring the differences with each other, honoring how you handle good times, how you handle stress moments, and just really being able to let them know, as Joanna mentioned, that they are the most important thing in your life.
I think that is what you said is the key, and it's key what you were saying of overcoming your fears, because one of the biggest fears that we have with our partner is, what if I say this and then he or she stop loving me? Or what if they will not come back, like you say with your family? So no matter what of these tips you try to do, make sure that the first thing that you do when you start the conversation is saying, honey, I love you. You are my first priority, my only priority in the universe. You are the most important thing in the universe for me. And no matter what happened, I'm going to be here and stay here. And then talk about whatever you need to talk on the conversation, on the word, or whatever it is. But start reinforcing that security of, hey, our love is above and beyond anything else. And we got this. We will figure out a way to go through this lockdown and any problem that we had. And if we do it as a team, then we are going to end stronger than what we were as a couple when we start.
And I know we've mentioned this on previous podcasts, but remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Do your deep breathing as soon as you feel some anxiety coming along. And you can even sit down with your partner and do the breathing together, and it will help align your energies and make you both feel safe, that whatever you're going to say is going to be okay, that you're going to be safe and you're going to be okay.
You actually remind me, we have a mutual friend that was just sharing in a group that we are doing the WellFit group together. And she just said that I don't know if you guys remember 2 or 3 episodes ago, Trish and I walk you through the 555 breathing that Trish does in the mornings. And this mutual friend just said that she decided that she's going to do the 555 breathing every time that she listens something that she disagrees with in her house. So instead of engaging on arguing and all that, as soon as she hears something that she disagrees with, she just stops and do what Trish said, breathe.
Absolutely. It's a powerful, powerful method that doesn't take very much time, and it changes the chemistry in the brain and the signals, and it just really, again, it's my favorite thing to do. I know it does way more for your whole body, but it really just helps me feel safe.
I think that we are getting to the end of our episode number 10. We are celebrating number 10 today. And we just want to let you know that it is a pleasure for us to spend this time with you, and that we would love to hear your feedback, your questions, if you have any topic that you would like us to know about and discuss. And also, if you have somebody that you really admire that you would love us to interview, if you just send the message into YouTube. We are now opening to having a couple of times per month some guests, like we had last week with the dear Warren. And just know that the purpose of this community is that we spiral up together, that we grow together and get better and better every day.
Absolutely. And thank you all for listening. And thank you, Joanna, for your wonderful insights as always. And we'll see everyone next time.
Thank you, my love. Mwah. See you next week. Bye-bye.